Hello, neighbor.
Hello, neighbor.
Do I have your permission to film this and use the footage?
You do.
Okay, and your name is?
Christopher Wyant.
Christopher, can you describe yourself in 5 words?
No.
Can you try?
Let's see. Man. 5 words. I'm a musician.
Okay,
I am spiritual.
okay.
I am a bit of an empath.
Okay.
How many is that?
Well, if empath is 1, that's 3. If bit of empath is
We'll stay with empath.
empath.
And then let's see. I would say that I am a husband
Okay,
and I'm a neighbor.
a neighbor. Excellent. Okay, tell me where you live. Describe your living situation. Who do you live with?
All right. I live in Brinkhaven, Ohio.
Okay.
Tiny little village in Knox County. There's about 120 of us here.
Wow. Do you know all your neighbors?
I know all of them. I wouldn't say I know them well,
Okay.
but I know everybody that lives in the
Okay.
village,
Okay.
at least by name, where they live, a little bit about them.
Okay.
Probably my favorite is the lady that lives next to me. She's 98 years old. She lives in the house she was born in.
Okay.
She has a ton of knowledge of the history around here, and she is extremely resistant to change.
Okay.
She is extremely opinionated, and she is very direct. So I love going over there and letting her tell me the things she doesn't like.
Is she right more often than not?
I wouldn't say right or wrong.
Okay.
I would say she is. She's opinionated, and she's very clear about why she
Okay, that's helpful.
thinks what she thinks.
Yeah.
And I enjoy our conversations.
Nice. Okay.
So
And so you live in a house here?
I do live in a house. It's the Queen Anne up there.
The Burgundy.
Yeah, gray and burgundy.
Green. Okay. Yep.
It was built in 1988.
Okay.
This village was founded in.
Wait, 1988.
I'm sorry, 1888.
1888.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
And I just hit my mic. Sorry.
That's all right.
1888.
That's what the mouse is for.
The village was established in 1838.
Okay.
There had been some people here a little bit before, but it was mapped out as Mount Holly in 1838.
Okay.
So that was kind of the official beginning.
When did it change over to Brinkhaven?
So in 1870-ish, it became Gann, and there was a family.
Spell that?
Gann.
GA. Okay.
There was a family, the Gann family, that owned property here, and the railroad was coming through.
Okay.
So they used their land, and they named the
railroad stop.
The
right.
railroad stop became Gann,
Okay.
and then the post office became Gann, and they were incorporated as a village as Gann.
Okay.
That was just for about 20 years. Then in 1890, there was a little bit of a falling out between Mr. Gann and the railroad.
Okay.
And the guy that ran the railroad at the time decided he would change the name to Brinkhaven, 2 words, Brinkhaven.
Okay.
After a place in Scotland he was from,
Okay.
his family was from. Or something.
Okay.
And they had
Arbitrary, but fair.
it, right? They had it for about 2 years as Brinkhaven, and then they incorporated it as Brinkhaven, 1 word.
Okay.
And that's when it became official in 1892.
Okay.
The problem is that I think there were still some Gann family members around here that didn't want it to change, and
Yeah.
there were some people that just, I don't know, they kept calling it Gann.
Okay.
So for a very long time, they had 2 names.
Okay.
So there was literally a sign out by the highway that said, "Welcome to Brinkhaven, Village of Gann."
Okay, what was the post office during that stretch?
Brinkhaven.
Brinkhaven, okay.
Always Brinkhaven,
Okay.
ever since the 1890s.
So you own your house, you rent your house?
own my house.
You own your house, and who do you live with?
My wife and 2 dogs, possibly a third coming to join us.
Okay,
We have a standard poodle named Lucian Augustus.
okay,
And we have a little Bichon. Her name is Calliope Hildegard.
okay. I love the 2 names. And
Right.
then what's the story of the third who might be coming?
So there's a family here in town that lives up on the hill. They have a standard, a white. Ours are black and white.
Okay.
The poodle's black, Bichon's white, and they have a white standard poodle named Willow.
Okay,
And they've only had her for about 4 or 5 months, and she's not really
okay.
fitting in well.
Yeah.
So they're looking to possibly rehome her. So we've been going for walks and just kind of getting to know
Okay.
her, and
Nice. She's going to need a second name.
she will have a second name, and I know what it is.
Okay, what is it?
Persephone.
Willow Persephone?
Yep.
Nice.
So we had a Bichon before. She was Penelope, then Calliope,
Right.
Persephone.
Okay. So how long have you been living here?
I've been here for 3 years. We moved here in August of 2022.
Okay, and where did you come from, and why did you come here specifically? Or why did you leave there?
We lived in a beautiful old house in Newark, which
Okay.
is about an hour south of here.
Newark,
45
Ohio, not New
Newark,
York.
Ohio. Yep.
Okay.
About an hour south of here. And loved our house, but it was on an intersection that was a lot busier than I guess I imagined it to be.
Yeah.
The high school was across the street a little ways, and so that was kind of a dropping off point for students, picking
right.
up for students. There was a lot of foot traffic right outside our house. And at that time, we had a miniature poodle. His name was Sir Ignatius Percival.
Okay.
We called him Iggy Pup. He was pretty upset with all the
Yeah.
foot traffic, and he was pretty
Not gonna
high
get over
strung.
it.
So we got to, then the house next to us was empty. We got to talking to the neighbors about possibly buying it. They were an older couple that it had been sitting empty for 6 or 7 years, still full of all their antiques. They bought a little house out on the lake because she couldn't go up and down the steps anymore.
Yeah.
So we started imagining that would be a little bit more private if we kind of nested over there.
Yeah.
So, and they liked what we had done with our house. They used to own it, and we bought it from their daughter.
Okay.
So we kind of made an agreement that we were going to buy their house. We agreed on the price.
Yeah.
We went and walked through with our realtor on Friday afternoon. We were all in agreement. We're all on the same page. We had plans. Their kids came over on Saturday to get all the last of their
Yep.
stuff out, or at least start getting a lot of the last of their stuff out. And I think at that time, their oldest daughter got a little upset that the family home
Yeah.
might be leaving the family, so she told them she would rather buy it herself,
Okay.
which turned out to be a blessing in a bunch of ways.
Yeah.
We had already gone through and gotten our finances ready to go and kind of gotten the bug.
Yep.
So even though we really loved our house, we knew we needed a new location. And I just started looking for old houses.
Okay.
I found this one up here. My wife said, "There's no way I'm moving. That's too far away." And she teaches school in Granville, so that's also about 45 minutes from here.
Yeah.
I said, "Well, it's a beautiful day. Let's just go look at this house. We like
Right.
old houses."
Yeah.
We came up. The power was out because they just had a big storm like a couple
Right.
days earlier. But the weather was perfect. We walked in. The lady that owned the house had all these white lace curtains, and all the windows were open. The breeze was blowing through. It was
Yep.
just gorgeous. The house is gorgeous. And we hadn't even made it upstairs. We were walking through the bottom, getting ready to go up to the second floor, and she looked over her shoulder at me. She goes, "I hate you." I knew I had her. So that was in June of 2022. In August, we moved in.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about living in Brinkhaven?
My baby. I would say it's very, very peaceful.
Okay.
Like you can see, we're
Yeah.
surrounded by this ridge and all the trees, the river running through here, the covered bridge. Most of the people have been here for a very long time or grew up around here and came back.
Yeah.
so it's a very strong community vibe, and we are that village that everybody talks about. You know, man, when I was a kid, we just roamed the streets till late at night. We rode our bikes.
Do you still have a post office?
We have a post office. We have a playground where the school used to be.
Okay.
Hi, baby. She's very interested.
Mr. Thick. Yeah. He says.
Sorry, I keep saying
it's
she.
okay. You want this. You want this. Drop it then. If you can't drop it, you can't. Yep.
But I'll pick it up again. What was I saying?
Post office, school.
Post office, school.
Playground.
We have the playground where the old school used to be. We have 2 churches, although one of them has been decommissioned. And it has been turned into an Airbnb, so now it's a Harry Potter themed, because it's very castle-like looking. You know, it's
cool.
It's the interesting story there is it's got the split-faced block on it, so it looks like it's very stone looking.
Yeah.
Those were actually built on site with materials from here.
Nice.
And it's got the bell tower in the front and then a little side tower, and they put caps on them that make them look, like a castle.
How many people can stay there? Like, is it you rent the whole thing?
You do rent the whole thing.
Okay.
I want to say it's 12.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or so, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And they've got the whole thing with all of the inside.
Makes
I don't
me
know.
want to go see it.
I don't know Harry Potter stuff, but
Yeah.
you can look it up online and you can see it.
I've got nieces and nephews very into that.
I'm very surprised at how busy it stays.
Yeah.
I mean, it's constantly booked, and people seem to love it.
Okay.
They also love ringing that bell a lot. Which I don't blame them. I would if I stayed there, but.
Hello. So in your estimation, what does a good life look and feel like?
Man, a good life. What does a good life look like? Being happy with what you do.
Okay.
Being happy with the people you've surrounded yourself with. Being able to help people.
Okay.
Feel like you're making a difference. Feel like you're contributing.
Okay. And what's the biggest challenge that you're facing in your life right now?
Balance.
Okay. Balance.
Balance. So I work in a facility that treats. It's a residential treatment facility for young girls from 14 to 18 who are survivors of sexual human trafficking.
Okay.
So it's a tough population.
Yeah.
I am the mayor in the village, and we have had a lot of challenges through the years. So we're essentially refounding the village right now.
Okay.
So there was no organization to the ordinances, and the local government was reactive and a bit chaotic for a very long time. So we are literally right now introducing a new municipal code.
Okay.
Which will set us up for.
And are people going to vote on that code?
The council will vote on it.
Okay.
So the code has been written, reviewed by legal, and on May 6th we're going to have a town hall.
Okay.
And I'll tell you about that little place too, because that's kind of cool.
Okay.
So we're going to have it open. We're making it available actually today.
Okay.
The village will have access to the code for the first time. They'll have a couple weeks to review it, think about it, and then on May 6th we'll have questions and comment from the public. Following that, we will consider whatever we need to change or amend or whatever.
Okay.
And then we'll vote on it, and then it will be the law of Brinkhaven.
The law of Brinkhaven.
So.
What is your favorite vegetable?
Sweet potatoes, although my wife tells me that's not a vegetable. It's a tuber.
I had that conversation last week about tomatoes.
Except during, I think it's in September, there's a sweet corn festival in Millersport.
Okay.
During that stretch, corn is my favorite.
How do you cook your sweet potatoes?
I cheat. I microwave them.
Okay, that's fair. How do you spend the majority of your time?
So, the part of the balance that I was talking about
Yeah.
is I also in March, I did a very, very, very cool thing, which I think is going to be one of my favorite things I've done in my life.
Okay.
My family's from Southern Indiana. My dad's side of the family's from Southern Indiana. There's a church there that generations of my family, great grandfathers,
Yeah.
there. It recently closed.
Okay.
The congregation dwindled, aged out,
Yeah.
and they could no longer sustain it. So in August, they closed the church. I found out about it in November, and I bought the church. And so I'm putting together a nonprofit Hamlin Chapel Preservation, or
Okay.
Hamlin Chapel Heritage Foundation, to preserve the church.
Okay.
And it's situated next to the cemetery, which has its own association taking care of it.
Are you going to put in a Harry Potter Airbnb?
Yeah, I'll leave that for them.
Okay.
It is a Methodist church. That was a Methodist church, but we're going to run it as a heritage center.
Okay.
And hopefully restore it to what it was before certain changes were made in the 1970s.
Okay.
And continue to have family reunions, weddings, funerals,
Okay.
all the kind of big events.
The
that
community
families
part
have.
of the church.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
that's what we're aiming for, and I'm very.
Are you going to
excited
do
about
that long distance, or are you going to move back there?
I'm gonna do it long distance.
Okay.
So my goal is to get it set up, get the grants, and get some of the work done to preserve it, and then maybe I'm in contact with some local folks
Okay.
that will be on the board and that will be helping me run it, and at that point I'll be able to turn over
Pass it over.
the daily
Nice.
to them.
What do you wish you had more time for?
Well, I'm also a musician.
Okay.
I would like to. I have another project in mind. This goes to the balance.
Yep.
I have a pretty big project with music that I'm working on. Again, I'm getting older, so I'm thinking more toward big things, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
let's get a whole new municipal code for the village. Let's set up this church that's 200 plus years old, and let's get that set up, and then I want to do what I will consider my magnum opus record, which will also have a book with it, have a podcast series with it, and eventually be a one-man show.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
I wish I had more time to do all that.
Yeah, I feel that. What do you believe will happen to you personally when you die?
So this is an interesting conversation my wife and I have had for a long time.
Okay.
I don't really believe this, but in a sense, I kind of believe it. I believe that our spirit returns to its source,
Okay.
so to God. Since we have Him living in us, our spirit returns to it. So I always tell her we're just a drop of water in the ocean. We're just
Yep.
going to go back to the ocean.
Okay.
So we'll just be assimilated back into it.
Okay.
So that's kind of the
There we go.
simple.
What do you know more about than most people?
Man, probably not much. I know probably less about everything than everybody else. I don't know. I don't know. I would say, I don't know if it's knowing more, but my dad was a preacher. We've moved a lot in my lifetime because of that. So I have had to assimilate
Right.
constantly. And so I've developed a bit of a sense of being able to read people.
Right.
So I would think that I don't know if that's knowing.
Right. No, but it's a skill.
Or it's a sense. It's,
Yeah.
I have and because of the various things that I've done in my life and the different places that I've been in my life, I'm pretty comfortable fitting in
Yeah.
in any situation. So I guess if I had to say, I would say something like that.
Okay. And what's something you've learned recently?
Something I've learned recently is that I would say it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to have detractors and people that will be against it,
Yeah.
even if you're doing everything you can to help that person.
Okay. How did you learn that?
I become the mayor.
Okay, there we go. Do you have access to the health care that you want and need? And
I do.
How does that work?
My wife is a school teacher.
Okay.
So we have pretty decent.
For the whole, for your family, both
yeah,
of you? Okay,
yeah. So
nice.
I've been on, even I worked for Nationwide, I worked for some big corporations, and even their insurance wasn't as good as hers, so
Okay.
it was just easier to be on hers. So.
Okay. Have you read when's the last time you read a whole book?
Not this year. It was sometime last year.
Okay. Do you remember what it was?
There was a couple of them, and I can't remember either one of them at the moment.
Doesn't sound like they made much of an impression.
They were really more.
When's the last time you read a good book? What was the last good book you read that you would actually recommend to people?
So there are actually two that I
Okay.
kind of reread
Okay.
from time to time, and because I try to incorporate them into my life, and I highly recommend them to a lot of people.
Okay.
One of them I give frequently as gifts, particularly if it's a young couple or somebody getting married.
Okay, so let's go with that one.
So that one, originally the title was, it kind of had a parentheses in it, or a little parenthetical
Yeah.
word stuck in it. So it's mostly his fault.
Okay.
For,
Who wrote that?
I can't remember his name.
I'll make Claude look it up.
It's too early in the morning.
Okay.
But it is a relationship book about being able to hear your partner
Okay.
and hear what they're saying. And I, for a long time, I struggled with that. I was very literal.
Yeah.
I would listen to what you say and I'd respond to it.
Right.
And if somebody is feeling a certain way, they can tell you, you made me feel whatever. Like, I didn't make you feel anything. I did this, and then you felt that way.
Right.
But what I ended up learning was not to listen to how they're telling me,
Right.
but listen to what they're telling me.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if someone is telling you, you used those words that I didn't know, so you were trying to make me feel dumb.
Right.
What they're really saying is, I felt dumb.
Right.
I felt
And I
belittled.
struggle when you use big words.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was not my intention, obviously, right?
Right.
I was just trying to convey with a more specific word to
Right.
express what I was trying to get across. If they didn't understand it, then it comes across to them
Right.
in a way that makes them feel something that I had no intention of.
Right.
So the goal, it completely shifted things for me to be able to listen to the emotion behind whatever it
Right.
is the person is saying.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they present it in pretty messy ways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I can and that goes back to A, being an empath, and B, being able to kind of read people, to stop focusing on their words
Right.
and to just really get into what are they trying to tell me, what are they feeling, and how can I affect that feeling to help them.
Right. Get
know,
where we're trying to go
If-
together.
If somebody feels very much like there's a guy standing right behind them with a shotgun going to do them harm, and you can clearly see there's nobody behind them,
Right.
their fear is just as real
Yeah.
as if he was there.
Yeah.
There is no difference in their fear.
Right.
So my goal is to try to help them feel differently.
Okay.
And you can't always do that with words.
Yeah. Describe a good person.
A good person is someone that you can trust, somebody that's trustworthy, somebody that truly cares about the well-being of their neighbor or somebody that they're with, regardless of what that person can do for you.
Okay.
That, to me, that's a good person. Somebody's going to do the right thing for internal reasons.
Okay. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I haven't.
Okay, what's your favorite breakfast?
I alternate between what I call an egg bowl, which is a couple eggs, cheese. I get an omelet.
Yeah.
Or oatmeal.
Okay.
Those are my two
Balance.
go-tos
Okay. And how often is that one of the other most mornings?
every morning.
Okay. Okay. Give me something really specific you love here on planet Earth, something that makes you happy or alive.
Music.
Okay. If you got a checklist when you paid your taxes and you could say to the government, these are my 3 top priorities, use my portion of the tax money on these 3 things, what would those 3 things be?
Healthcare, and a separate, because it's just as important, mental health.
Okay. So is
and
that
then
1 or 2?
That's 2.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's separate.
Physical healthcare, mental healthcare.
health care, and then food and assistance to poor people.
Okay. And what 3 things would you not want the government spending money on? Good grief, he really likes you.
What 3 things do I would not want them spending on? Public school vouchers.
Okay.
So much money on bombs right now in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And then, to limit
I
it
see you.
to 3. What did I say? Public school vouchers, bombs, immigration.
Okay.
I think that's a hugely misspent effort.
Which level on the immigration?
Well, all of the deportation stuff.
Okay.
I think if they were to put that money instead into courts and judges and help the asylum seekers and get rid of the backlog, and then going back to a very conservative president, Ronald Reagan, put in a work program. We need the workers.
Right.
They need the work.
Yeah.
And not open the border, but make the doorway work both ways.
Right, okay.
Very well, so we can help their families, help our work situation, and there's no antagonistic.
So they come and, for instance, do the harvest and then go back?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
As often as they want.
Yeah, okay.
Just make
As
that.
long as they don't get in trouble.
Well, right. I mean, that goes for citizens too, right?
Yeah.
Citizens are left alone as long as they don't get in trouble.
Right.
So
That's fair.
my goal is make it a work situation so they can come fill our needs for labor, and we can do it legitimately and fairly with them as opposed to doing everything under the table and mistreating them.
Yeah.
So that would be my 3rd bucket.
Okay. How many living beings are you responsible for keeping alive?
Me.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean,
Dogs? Is that your wife?
okay. My wife she's very independent.
Okay.
So she could take care of herself. The dogs, yeah, we share that.
Okay. Okay. I'm curious if you feel well represented. It's because you're the mayor. This is an interesting question now. Do you feel well represented by your politicians going local, state, national?
Not at all.
Even though you're the mayor?
Even though I'm the mayor. So locally, I don't see that as politics.
Okay.
Because we are
Interesting.
we're a very small village.
Yeah.
We're nonpartisan, so
Okay.
we're not in any parties. We're just here to take care of our village.
Okay.
But beyond that, like on a county level, on a state level, nationally, I think they don't ever attempt to represent the people.
Okay.
They represent money interests.
Okay. What kind of person would you be excited to vote for?
The kind of person that I would be excited to vote for is someone that, and I don't know that they exist, but is truly looking out for just people.
Okay.
And I think the nature of the game is money, and you automatically, once you start getting money donated to you, given to you. Now you have to give something to those people. So you're
Right.
beholden to other interests
Yeah.
other than just the people you are supposed to be representing. So I think our system is broken.
Okay.
So the kind of person that I would want to vote for is somebody that wouldn't be running to begin with.
Okay. I wish those people would run, though.
I know.
Yeah.
But they could never get elected because they can't get enough money. And then if they get the money, then that's
Yeah.
the cycle. That's the system.
And we touched on this a little bit before, but the next question is there something in your heart that is just feels like almost the impossible dream, something that you're still really reaching for, that feels a little out of reach, but it's important?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is this project that I was talking about with my music. It's racial reconciliation.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So this my dad was a preacher, and I grew up without TV, without movies, without secular music. But my dad had several records of preachers.
Okay.
So back in the day, I had in our house, we had albums of Reverend C.L. Franklin preaching sermons. I had much deeper knowledge of him than I ever knew of his daughter, who was Aretha Franklin.
Oh, interesting.
For many, many
Right.
years. So it was only
Don't
later,
listen to the daughter, kids.
It was only later that I found out, oh,
Interesting. That's fascinating.
So I grew up with that. In the 80s, I lived in Nashville, and somehow or another, I ended up on a weekly black gospel music show
Okay.
on Black Entertainment Television. So I was singing with some of the biggest names in black gospel music
Wow.
back in the 80s. All of this is just stuff that it wasn't by design. It just happened.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, there was a week, like in June, July, into June, 1st of July, somewhere in that, where there was like 4 young unarmed black men that were killed by the police. And then there was a black man that killed police. He was in retaliation. So it was a very tense
Yeah.
couple of weeks, and it was extremely troubling. And somebody shared a video with, on social media. I ended up watching it. It was a young black preacher. He was talking to his community. He was addressing them in the midst of all this turmoil, asking them to keep their spirits and hearts tender and right.
Yeah.
And then about 3/4 of the way through, he said, I want to address my white brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Now, I've had this feeling, this awareness of racial tension, racial strife. I lived in a little town in Kentucky, maybe 8,000 or 9,000 people there. And this is actually one of the songs on my project. The part of town was called Bootsville,
Okay.
and it was where the black people lived. I was too young to ever question that.
Right.
I just knew there's a little sector over there that's where the black people live. They have their own funeral home. They have their own grocery. They live there.
Yeah.
But my school was there. So I went to school in there. So, but again, I just took that for granted.
Yeah.
Like so much of life, things that are racist or have racial origins that we don't even examine or think
Right.
about.
Right.
And then later we start looking back at them and realizing, oh, there was a lot more to that, and I wasn't even aware.
Yeah.
Using the N word as an insult.
Yeah.
I used that word a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it meant. I
Right.
just knew it was an insult.
Right.
Or the R word.
Yeah.
Or calling my friends or brothers woman or girl.
Yeah.
It's just an insult at that age.
Yep.
You don't think about
What makes it
means.
insulting? Yeah.
And then only looking back at my life was I able to start realizing all the racial undertones or the racial underpinnings of so many things that were just normal
Right.
to me, and the way that racism showed up in my life as a benefit.
Right.
So I started becoming aware of it, but I felt like I'm a white guy. What do I have to say about racism, right? But then this young preacher was talking, and when he said he wanted to talk to the white brothers and sisters, he said, you have a specific calling and a specific opportunity to speak to your world, your sphere of influence, in ways that we can't.
Right.
And you can tear down the altars
Yeah.
of your ancestors. And he was much more eloquent than that, but he was exactly right, and he was speaking to this feeling that I had inside, never had words to put to it.
Right.
I was telling another person about it, and I went to show him the video, and that was the first time I noticed, oh, that guy was actually in Columbus, and I lived in Columbus at the time. So I went to his church.
Yep.
And then I started going there. I went there for 7 years till COVID hit. Developed some deep relationships, took classes, just lived life in proximity on a deeper level.
Right.
And heard stories, heard experiences, and was able to take in completely different perspectives on so much.
Yeah.
And so that has kind of taken root in my heart with my experiences. And
Yeah.
it's resonated in different ways, so it's given me a chance to kind of look back. So this project that I'm looking at doing, it's going to be called Psalms from a White Man's Burden.
Okay.
So White Man's Burden was a Kipling
Yep.
poem
Okay.
about imperialism, and our burden was to share our superior way of life as white people
Right.
with the uncivilized world.
Yeah.
This is kind of inverting that, and
Okay.
saying that my burden is now to tear down the altars of white supremacy.
Right.
And in a double meaning there, as a Christian, a lot of times we have a burden to pray or to make things better.
Yeah.
And so that it would also be my burden. So this project will have 4 movements, and it's me looking back over my life.
Okay.
And like so I said, Bootsville will be one of the
Yeah.
songs. And I'm kind of deconstructing my own life.
Yeah.
And then moving forward to the part where I'm listening and I'm hearing other perspectives. And now that I know, what do I do with that?
Right.
So
Right.
that's the journey
Okay.
of my life. And that's,
Okay.
that's
Nice.
That's the.
What
that's
do
the
you
next
feel like is the biggest challenge we're facing as a country right now?
I think it is being able to operate from the same set of basic facts.
Okay.
We live in alternate realities.
Yeah.
And we live in silos. And we can very easily not know the basic things that are happening in the world around us, depending on our source of news
Yeah.
information. And that's by design.
Yeah. It's interesting because when you said silo, my brain instantly kind of split into you can store food there or you can bomb people from there.
Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And that is on a metaphorical level what's happening with our news, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you could ask everyone in the country one question, what would it be?
Don't you realize there is no them, there's only us?
Okay. Okay. So if you're watching this and would like to answer that or discuss that in the comments, we would love to hear what you've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.